Podcasting from somewhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, the birthplace of Bruce Lee, the iPhone, and the bendy straw. This is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
Hey everybody, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for neighbors. Would you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Howdy, neighbor. How's everybody doing? I've got my coffee. I'm kind of bundled up around my neck. I've got a big old scarf and I got a big old beanie. Got my shades on. And I'm trying to get to where I need to get. Let's see if I can eliminate some of this scratchy. How's everybody doing? Huh? Just want to say, if you've tuned in and you're new to this podcast, I apologize for the high quality professionalism that you've come to expect out of these very, very expensive podcast episodes. Yeah. I need some coffee. Coffee. It's the start of a brand new day, and this is the way that I get it to go. I have a few minutes to record. This is Ruel, by the way. Welcome to Ruel's Running Podcast. A podcast, as you heard at the top of the show, about a little bit about health, a little bit about running, living an NSNG lifestyle that is no sugar, no grains. And so I wanted to take the opportunity, with it being a new year, sort of for the benefit of the new listener and also for myself, sort of talk about the podcast, why the podcast, what to expect. I say also for the benefit of me because I need to sort of set goals, if you will, with it being the new year, and sort of give myself a little bit of a guidance, and with that, hopefully, have the new listener get a little better understanding of why this thing is called a running show. When there isn't a whole lot of running being talked about, and yeah. So, hi guys, it's Ruel Abdam. First time I've introduced myself by my full name. That's okay. And so then you're wondering, then why does it say Ruel? So, well, first of all, my last name is kind of funny. Second of all, my first name not everybody can get right. I can get it right because I've lived with it. Ruel. 3 letters, R-U-E-L. Not Royal, not Raul, not Rahul, none of that stuff, right? It's Ruel. Or Rule, if you can't sort of manipulate your tongue in such a way that makes it roll that way. R-U-E-L. I know you're probably thinking, what does it stand for? Ruel. I know what NSNG stands for. That's Vinny's thing. Vinny Torridge's thing. No sugar, no grains. LCHF. I know what that is. That's low carb, high fat. Or Brad Brown's podcast, it's low carb, healthy fats. Right? What's R-U-E-L? Is it red underwear? Everything's lovely? No. That can't be. That doesn't make any sense. rhubarb, umbrellas, elephant. There is one. It's actually this way. Yeah. So there's a sporting goods store. There's a CVS, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. That's my part-time. I am I'm a direction giver. That was me offering helpful information to somebody who's trying to get to a drugstore, because I live in a zone where there's a lot of druggies. Yeah, so the podcast. 2 years ago, started the podcast, this thing, and I wanted a way to tie in what little running I do with a lifestyle that has I've found to get me healthy, make me excited about an alternative way of fueling for my runs, and at the same time gain better control of my weight, my body composition, that kind of stuff. And along the way, side effects of, hey, look, this ailment, this thing, this issue somehow went away. And as time went on over the years, it's been 4 or 5 years, I think. However long Vinny's podcast, the Celebrity Fitness Trainer podcast, has been around, that's how long I've been basically on what's called the NSNG lifestyle. It's awesome, right? As time went on, I lost weight, and as years went on, I realized I can go through things like the holidays, and gosh, not worry about the weight gain and all that stuff. I can just worry about celebrating, having a good time, and have no regrets. Stretch. Yeah, so I was so happy and excited about the lifestyle, and I still am, that I wanted to share, right? I was already part of a Facebook group, a closed Facebook group dedicated to the lifestyle, but I don't want to be that person who goes in a Facebook group and kind of takes over the group by just talking about my experiences. I wanted to share, but I know that it wasn't the place to share everything that was on my mind, so I put out this podcast as a way to, as I walk past the construction site. Sorry for the background noise. That's somebody's generator or somebody's truck or both. Lovely. Yeah. So, that's a FedEx van. So here I am with a podcast. I want to talk about things that meant a lot to me: running, the NSNG lifestyle, my family. So it ended up just being, let's just talk about whatever I feel folks might benefit from, as I sort of put myself out there as an example. Because early on, there's a lot of questions, and there still are a lot of questions for folks who want to know, how do I go about my day? Nothing specific or elitist, like how do I run specifically this much distance at this much speed and consume X amount of calories and specifically these types of foods, blah 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 blah, under wearing specific shoes in certain weather conditions and certain elevation. Yeah, I'm not that guy. So I'm also not a guy that's really organized with his thoughts. So let me have a mental pause and sip on my coffee. Oh God, so good. Can't feel my fingers, but I can feel the coffee rolling down the back of my tongue. So guys and gals, it's good to be back. Don't want to spend the whole time talking about the podcast sort of as an introduction. Just wanted to get out there, put this out. I'll probably break it up into several small recordings and mix it all together. At the moment, I'm recording on the Boss Jock Studio app on the iPhone. I do have equipment at home, but I'm not home, and I feel like recording. So there, yeah. The Apple iPhone earbuds, not the ear pods, the wired buds. So all that scratching you hear is the microphone up against my stubbly chin, and the scarf that I'm wearing, scarf that I got for Christmas, nice and warm. Yeah, just came off a awesome weekend with the family, had some snow play, and I know. There are folks out there in part of the country that get iced in, snowed in, and, it's just a part of, it's not fair, right? It's just a part of the day. It's a part of the season. It's a part of the year. It's not enjoyable for folks who have to shovel snow and all that jazz. It's kind of not fair because it's just relatively cold where I live, and we have to drive a couple hours a certain direction to experience snow and have the kids play. So it's recreation. It's not anything that we kind of day to day have to, in a way, deal with. Yeah. But it was great. Posted some stuff on the Facebook. A lot of fun. The kids are at an age, for the new listener, I'm a dad, I'm a family guy, husband, have 3 little kids, and they're all at an age now where they kind of go out and explore snow and express their own personalities in the snow however the way they want. One will get upset when a little bit of snow touches their face. The other one will scream in pain when I throw a hard, solid snowball on his hip. I don't get it. I don't understand. The other would dig a big old hole in the ground and halfway bury himself and say, "Take a picture of me," and give me a funny face. Yeah. I got socked pretty good the other day. My wife's niece got me real good with a snowball right on the forehead. I had glasses on, so some sunglasses on, and it was a good hit. Left a couple marks on my forehead. Don't regret it. Then she got me a second time the following day as I came down this hillside with the sled. I was too concerned about doing the landing, and midway through got powdered pretty good in the face, and all the little flecks or whatever they're called stuck to my skin, and it looked like I was a sugary powdery donut. Yeah, good times. And with that, I'm going to give it a pause because it's going to get crazy. Hey everybody, I'm back. Only have a few minutes, but I want to touch on goals. It's start of the new year, as we've mentioned many times already, and I can't remember setting out goals for 2016. and so I gotta get my act together and set something for this year. And right off the bat, I want to say I'm going to run an organized event, and it isn't going to be for the 50 miles that I've failed to cover in the years past, because great majority of last year was without running. I need something to sort of help get me trained up, and so I've signed up for a 50K, and I think this will be the first time that I've talked about it on the podcast this year. So whether or not I complete it, I want to. I sure in heck will try, and it'll be a great test to my current state of fitness or lack thereof. It's gonna be an awesome time. I love already the fact that it is not too far from home, and the registration fees weren't outrageous. So look forward to doing that, and so we'll see how it goes. I've already spoken to my wife about the possibilities of doing other organized events away from home, where the family can tag along and do things sort of on the side. So we'll see how that goes, if I can find anything of interest that also fits the budget and the bill. Now, as far as training, I'm in the train, so that's all that background noise. So as far as training, I did a test run in San Francisco during a bit of a break in the day. Wanted to see how far I can go, in the city, and get a sense of where I can continue to run moving forward, as a mental break, as a way to get a little exercise. In addition, I also did a couple sessions on the Stairmaster, which is basically 19 floors in one of the buildings, and 19 floors up and then back down. And that was a good workout, considering how out of shape I am. So those are my current options. And we'll see how it goes. I got a lockdown on my nutrition. I'm not too far off. I am getting back in the swing of things, since a greater part of last year, I had to sort of deal with, I guess for lack of a better word, emotional eating. Emotional in the sense of, there were a bunch of times where I wasn't feeling my best about sort of things that were going on in my world, that I just cared less about whether or not I was going to avoid, say, a bun on a burger or not. Then the holidays kicked in, and there was a whole lot of good stuff going on in the holidays, and I'll talk about all that stuff later, maybe in another episode. But yeah, so I'm just getting back in the swing of things. I love, a lot of people are going to think I'm out of my mind, but I love the work week. I love the work week because I'm not spending a whole lot of time eating. I'm running around, getting stuff done, getting work done. If I can fit in a run or a workout, great. And, it's just me, and I know me, and I don't have to get those square meals, those traditional 3 square meals in a day. So I'm basically, going back to the routine of get up in the morning, make myself a coffee, maybe a splash of heavy cream in it, make lunch and breakfast for the rest of the family for that day, head to work, trickle some more coffee, throughout the day. And if it's a day where I get to work out during the lunch period, I'm doing a quick run and not thinking about food, still not hungry, which is the benefit of, I guess, having a level of fat adaptedness. The level of blood sugar doesn't get me hungry, but if I do eat, I do eat, and I eat pretty hearty. And that sometimes happens if I end up having lunch with coworkers or meeting up with a friend. If I just get enough of an emotional hiccup that I'm like, F it. I'm not going to run. I'm just going to go find something cool to eat, and I'm going to go just enjoy. But for the most part, I'm not having anything to eat till later on the day. And that's what you call fasting to some extent. And I feel great that way. And it keeps me mentally and physically just okay. For my energy levels, for my activities, and all that good stuff. Yeah. So that's that. So running, getting a run done this year is the immediate goal. As far as the podcasts, it's always been the goal to be a bit more consistent and continue to have fun with it. So this episode is that effort. And what I found is that as I sit down and I record, it's a good way to sort of sort out my head. So in a way, not only does running sort out my head, sitting and recording these things helps sort out my head as I think about things to say and things that I do have a big old list of things that I want to touch on. It's just I'm not in a situation to look at those notes and talk about them. So I'm just sort of ad hoc talking about stuff. And so those two goals, podcasting and running. And I'll catch you in a bit. Hey everybody. So I want to, I guess, make something out of this episode. I am struggling as I get back into the swing of things with a whole lot of things. The podcast, as I talked about, as a want to be more consistent as a goal this year. That's what I want to do, and it's probably not going to be what I want it to be in the beginning, and as I sort of sort things out, come to think of it, it's always been an experiment, and if for those who have listened over a period of time, have probably noticed, there would be a stretch of a certain format, followed by a stretch of a different format, followed by a stretch of another format. So it definitely is an experiment. And I guess at those times it just made the most sense. So I'm kind of in flux right now, I want to have it evolve to something where it makes more sense. If that even makes any sense, but it doesn't make any sense. And it probably doesn't make any sense, and the reason why it doesn't make any sense is I probably need more coffee. So that was just a minute or two of more worthlessness than usual. So let's talk about something else, something about family, something about health. And what I want to talk about is, my kids are dealing with, at least 2 out of 3 of the kids are dealing with eczema. And anybody who has dealt with it, anybody who has kids with it know that it's not fun. So yeah, the question is, have I dealt with it? And I have, as a kid and as a teenager and as a young adult, I dealt with some sort of eczema one way or another, and I just, over years, learned to just accept it as part of who I am. I remember as a kid, I had this really bad case of something. I don't know. It wasn't anything like chicken pox or mumps, but it definitely was something that, overtook a large part of my skin, And I was that kind of kid, and I talked about it before in a previous podcast, where in order to deal with sort of the teasing that I would get from kids my age, my brother or my cousins, kids that I was around, things like the fact that I was a fat kid, the way I coped was I made fun of myself first, so that it wouldn't give the opportunity for the others to hurt my feelings. So if anybody was going to say something about me, it was going to be me first. And that's some sort of coping mechanism. And there's probably some psychological terminology for that. But I don't know what it is. So anyways, there was a time where not only was I a fat kid, but I also had eczema or some form of it. And I used to joke that I had scaly skin, that I was a lizard, I was a reptile, and that sort of, was another way for me coping socially with what I had going on. So I was a wreck. But I saw dermatologists and had creams and soaks, oatmeal baths, and I remember one time getting an injection on my hip, or the chunky part of my buttocks, and things clearing up. But as time went on, as I became a teenager, I developed other things, and not good. It wasn't until a nutritional shift into having more whole foods into my my diet, and eliminating a lot of the processed junk that that stuff cleared up. And so my kids, they have it, and kind of recently took my son to a allergist appointment, and he had some allergy testing done. It was the skin testing, and the nurse brought in several trays of stuff that he was going to test for. Not all of it, but there was a certain set. And but prior to that test, had my son been on various moisturizing protocols, not protocols, but moisturizing products, if you call it, things from the petroleum jelly type stuff, or the alternative to petroleum jelly, which is more like soy type or beeswax type stuff, to coconut oil, various stuff, and various soaks in the bath, to oatmeal baths, to baths with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, all these different things that are out there as ways to sort of deal with the eczema, as well as having seen his doctor and being prescribed certain steroidal creams and whatnot. So it's a constant battle of doing these moisturizing things and certain baths and applying ointment and creams, as well as just trying to keep his skin comfortable when he would have flare-ups. And then I know you folks are thinking, how about dietary changes? And yes, we've done dietary changes as well. We've, got him off of a lot of processed stuff, as kids are exposed to, or typically have. It isn't ideal, but it's sort of that weird balance of having the kids be kids and still having him have less of the junk that the typical kid his age would have, or a human in this country would have. And so we fiddled with going gluten-free, cutting out or eliminating, but in addition to eliminating stuff, we've added things to his diet that he's learned to enjoy. Things like the bone broth, supplementing collagen in basically his drinking water, the Great Lakes hydrolyzed, blah 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 blah, grass-fed, blah blah blah, odorless, tasteless product, which is great. So something to help, I guess, with skin repair in case he's not getting enough of what he needs from the foods he eats. A lot of stuff, and it, as I struggled as a kid, he struggled with it as well. During the summer times, how did it impact him? And it impacted his recess. If he was out in the sun, he knew that at some point all that heat was going to aggravate his skin, and he'd have to be in the cool and in the shade, and being reminded to moisturize and all this other stuff. So anyways, there's a lot of guessing and shooting in the dark and trying to get him to get past the ups and downs of flare-ups. But back to his recent appointment with an allergist, he got the skin test done, and we ruled out, at least from a skin perspective, that there wasn't a response to things like the casein in milk. There wasn't a response to wheat. He had a response to, I guess, cat hair and AP dog hair, and a very, very minute response to peanuts. He responded to, was it birch and oak? So, in a way, somewhat ruled out some of the food allergy type stuff. But, I don't know about, to be quite honest, skin testing versus, the impact of foods in your gut, and then what type of response you can get. So I still think, and even the allergist agrees, that it's worthwhile to not just say, oh, well, then if he didn't respond to wheat, then he can just go hog wild with wheat. It's worthwhile to not go that direction. So my thing is, he whatever he reacted to, I guess we have to make sure that doesn't rub up against his skin, because it was a skin test. So, still have the allergist was kind of perplexed, because he said my son's case was unusual. The fact that his eczema had presented itself in the past, say, a couple years. Most of the patients he's seen, kids who suffer with eczema, they they have an allergy and they just get it from the get-go. So he feels that there's something that my son's recently been exposed to or reacting to in the past couple of years that's brought it on, obviously, and that we may be able to figure that out. So there is this patch testing that my son is going to be a part of. We just have to schedule it and figure it out, because it involves basically a strip of sticker onto my son's clean and dry skin. And the approach in general is sort of apply on like a Monday, and then then a couple days pass, and then you read it, or something. I don't know. It's a contact type test. How does he respond when he's in contact with certain things? So, where the skin test had a little poke and a little break of the surface of the skin and having some of certain allergen substances have contact there. This one is just over a period of time, constant contact. So that's that. So we walked away from the appointment, and having known that my son's on already some sort of steroidal cream, he changed the way that we approached applying the cream. We've kept my son on, we kept my son's dietary changes there. We've kept the moisturizing there, but the change was to apply the steroidal cream twice a day straight for a week, and then after that, it'll be twice a week. And then there may be the need to go back to the twice every day for a week, but it depends. And the mindset was, the shift for treating my son was with eczema. In the past, what we've done was we've witnessed a flare-up and then tried to apply the cream to calm it down, and then that was it. But the allergist said, with eczema, it's better to stay on top of it, stay ahead of it. So I guess preventatively, putting all the cream consistently for a period of time, and then scaling back, and then repeating as needed, was a way to do that. And to be quite honest, at this time, his skin looks great, and it's awesome. I mean, there are other things. My son, he has anxieties, and stress can also be a part of causing eczema or exacerbating things. So, so that's that. My son's lucky. I think, I like to think that over time, if we continue to stay on top of it, and his body will get stronger, his mind will be stronger, and he'll grow, and he'll consume a greater variety of foods, and continue to stay off junk. That he'll get to that point where he won't even need any of the creams, just like I have, and he won't have the eczema just like I no longer do. Knock on wood, and that'll be that. So I mentioned that there were 2 of my 3 that are on it, and my youngest has it as well. So she has an appointment as well with the same allergist to test for. But the benefit of having one sibling go first is we've been able to take those learnings and just make the assumption that my youngest can benefit from the same sort of approach that my son is on. So we've been doing the same thing with her, and we'll see how things go. So that's that. That's a bit of family and health related stuff, and I hope it meant something to somebody. All right, I'll leave it there. So I'll catch you on the next episode, guys. Thanks for staying tuned. And lastly, what I want to say is that for the website, I am behind several posts as far as posts specific to episodes. So last night I just started the work on episode 145. So you've likely heard episode 145. I had to re-listen to it, and it talks about weight loss and NSNG. And it's stuff that I needed to hear again, even though it's coming from me. But it helps. It serves as a reminder. It's kind of like when you journal, you sort of put things down, and you're able to review and reflect and learn. So, in a way, this stuff has become that stuff for me. So, check out episode 145 if you're interested in what I have to say about weight loss and NSNG. So it is dated because I do talk about some ultra runners and ultra running efforts that have long passed. For I don't know, might have been I think it was a September released episode. So yeah, it's been several months, but yeah, thanks guys, take care. Say it again. If you, a friend, or somebody that you overheard say at a coffee shop, man, I am looking for a top-notch website hosting service with incredible support, right? If you know somebody or heard of somebody, let them know that there's this place called Bluehost. They offer top-notch website hosting, incredible support. All they have to do is go to ruelsrunning.com, click on the Bluehost banner to click through, and see what they got to offer. And it's a website service that I use for the site. I'm happy with them, and I'm sure that if you or people you know get on it, that you'll find out for yourselves that, yep, they are top-notch and have excellent service. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.